Hey everyone, my name is Jake and welcome to Storytime. Today we're going to be looking at some choosing beggar stories, so sit back, relax and enjoy. Choosing beggar can't believe they have to pay for the food they order. Okay, so I work at a cafe/restaurant and have been doing this for about half a year now. I have social anxiety and therefore am not very good at standing my ground, let alone arguing with people. But I honestly thought that working at a restaurant where I am exposed to new people every day would do something good for me. I don't know if I have been extremely naive to think this, or just very hopeful, but I gave it a shot. Within the first month of me working there, I had had my fair share of unsatisfied people, but for the most part, it had been because of miscommunication, since I am the only white girl working at a Turkish-owned restaurant. I have a very hard time explaining to the chefs if the customer wants to change something about the dish. And since I don't speak Turkish, and people in the kitchen don't speak my language that well, we often don't understand each other. But this can often be solved by me suggesting to the customer that the kitchen can make them a new dish, or by giving them a cup of coffee on the house. In a worst case scenario where the customer seems really unhappy and doesn't want to wait for new food or want some coffee, I have been told by a coworker that we should then delete that person's food from the check, which my boss has required us to do, so we don't receive bad reviews unnecessarily. At some point within the first few months, two girls walk into the restaurant and sit down. One of them orders a salad. As I walk over to them with their food, they smile at me, and as I am the only waitress at work that day, I am already feeling a bit anxious, knowing that dinner time is coming up. 5 minutes later, I walk back to their table asking them if everything tastes as it should, and one of the girl nods while the other one gives me a fake smile before putting her fork down. "I don't like the chicken in this salad. Is it chicken breast?" Me not expecting confrontation, as it is a question we're required to ask, and because I almost always just get a nod or a "yes, thank you." "I think so, but if you'll give me a second I can ask the kitchen." I get back about a minute later. "Yeah, it's chicken breast." "Okay, I don't like that. Don't they have anything else?" "I'm sorry, but it is chicken breast they use in this salad. If it tastes funny, I can ask them to make you a new one." "No, I don't want it." Me getting even more anxious. "Would you like a coffee instead? On the house?" "No, it's fine. Just take the salad." About 15 minutes later, the two girls approach the desk asking for the check. "Why is my salad on here?" "Well, because you need to pay for it." "I barely touched it." "I know, but I asked you if you wanted a new dish and you said no, so there's nothing I can do for you, sorry." "That's not fair. It's not my fault that you can't make a good salad. I shouldn't have to pay for it." Me remembering the worst case scenario rule and seeing that a lot of people come through the door. Alright. I delete the salad, and as soon as the girls have left, I hear my boss asking me in my earpiece why I have deleted the salad. I explain to him the situation, and he gets mad, telling me that I can only delete the dish from the check if it's a mistake from the kitchen side. He's mad at me for the rest of the evening and keeps reminding me that errors like this is not okay, as it's a waste of money, but calms down at some point, reminding himself that it's just a €10 salad and not a €30 steak. He specifically asks me to never make that mistake again and to ask from now on if I am about to delete a dish. Fast forward 6 months to yesterday. The same two girls walk in, and I recognize their faces as soon as they sit by the table. The girl who last time asked for a salad asks for the same dang salad. I kindly remind her that it's still made with chicken breast, which she says is fine. When I later ask them if everything tastes as it should, the same girl says that she doesn't like the salad. I walk down to my boss saying that the same girl has done it again, and he says that I can suggest getting her a completely different dish, but I can't give her free coffee or the food for free. I ask the girl if I can get her something else instead, and she declines, so I grab her plate and return to the front desk. At this point, I have a bit more confidence than I had a few months back, so I don't get quite as anxious when the girl gets up to pay. Here is how the conversation went. Excuse me, why is my salad on the check? Because you ordered it. Yeah, but I didn't like it. I barely ate any. Honestly, that's your own problem. You ordered the exact same salad that you didn't like months ago, and you didn't want something else instead, which, by the way, in this situation is a way too generous offer, so you're gonna have to pay for it. But last time you deleted it from the check. Yeah, and I got into a lot of trouble for it. Please just pay for the salad so I can continue my shift. I shouldn't have to pay for this. I didn't eat any of it. No, but you still ordered it. Then I want it with me to go home. Can you pack it into a to-go container? I threw it out 15 minutes ago. If I'm gonna pay for my food, I want it with me home. Then make them make me a new one. That's not how this works. If you want a new one to go home with you, you'll have to pay for two. That is not fair. I want to talk to your boss. This is not how you treat customers. I call my boss over and he explains to the girls that I have explained and told him everything, and that they do not get to use the insecurity of his workers to get free food. They have a small disagreement about customer service, and my boss ends up telling the girls not to come back before going back into his office. I'm still not paying for this salad. Then I'm gonna have to call the police. Then I should get 50% off or something. I'm sorry, I can't do that. This is so disgusting. I have never been treated like this before. We're both silent for a few moments before she sighs. Fine, I'll just take the free coffee and go. I can serve you a cup of coffee, but you will have to pay for it. What? Last time you offered me a coffee for free. We only came back because we know you offer free coffee. We only serve free coffee to customers if the kitchen has made a mistake. It's not their fault that you chose to order the same salad you didn't like 6 months ago. Can't I just have the coffee? For €4, yes. No, I want it for free. You have ruined my entire night. I need compensation for that. Choosing Beggar's friend finally speaks up. Let's just get out of here. No, I want coffee. That will be €4. No, this isn't fair. You offered me free coffee. I want it now. I can't do that, sorry. The Choosing Beggar's friend pays for the whole check, which makes me smile because I know that I haven't budged, which is kind of a big deal to me. The Choosing Beggar ends up calling me a few slurs before her friend finally removes her from the restaurant. My boss later tells me that he actually did this one time before she did it to me last time, but he only knew it was her when I called him out to talk to them. Why do people like this exist? I've got to say, I am proud of OP for overcoming her fears there, because that takes a lot to become really anxious to not anxious, so I respect that. But how do people like that make such fools of themselves in front of so many people? That must have been, what, a 5-minute conversation at the least? Just leave, please. Had literally hundreds of situations like these as a hotel employee. During my university days, I worked as a night auditor. I have dealt with my fair share of choosing beggars, but situations like the following were the most common. I worked in a city with a lot of summer tourism, and a big theatre festival lasting 2 months in the summer. Especially during the festival, choosing beggars were a dime a dozen. An example I remember well would be this one. During the summer between the festival and the hordes of Asian tourists, the town and the hotels are pretty much booked to capacity each night all summer. Sure, you do have a few cancellations or no-shows in the end, but we seldom had more than 2 or 3 rooms available like that during summer. The choosing beggar in question arrived the first time shortly after midnight. He inquired what a room for him and his pregnant wife would cost. I told him what I had available and showed him the picture on my computer screen and what it would cost. He accused me of highway robbery and said he would never stay with us if I didn't lower the price substantially. We had some leeway with prices, and because it had been hot all day and it was late at night, I forgave the choosing beggar's flippant tone. And I lowered the price a little. Still not low enough for choosing beggar. So, cursing me, he went on his merry way, trying his luck at other hotels, which were just as booked as us, and mostly had higher prices. So, an hour later, he was back, asked me if I was willing to knock something more off. I wasn't, so he left again. Around 3:30 or 4 AM, he was back again. When he was here before, I had 3 or 4 rooms left. Now I was down to a room for 1 person, and 1 double room with 2 beds. We normally give out last because it is the tiniest 2-bedroom room we had. At this point, I need to say the owner's wife was an interior designer, and the owner let her plan the rooms. So every freaking room looked different. On top, it was an old historical building the hotel was in, so the rooms all had different layouts and the amount of space available as well. Choosing beggar looked somewhat defeated and acquiesced to the price. When he saw the room, he flipped out. He said that was not the pictures I had showed him, but I had told him that the room I previously showed him in the photos was not available anymore. And then I made the mistake of mentioning the only rooms I still had available were a single room and the luxury apartment on the top floor. Of course, he then wanted an upgrade for the same price to the luxury apartment. After all, no one else was going to use it. I had not mentioned the luxury apartment before because it was for use of the owner and people the owner allowed the use of it only. I told them that I was not allowed to give anyone that room. What followed was a 10-minute argument between choosing beggar, his pregnant wife, and me, in which they tried to convince and strong-arm me into letting them have the apartment for the same price, or better yet, free. They threatened me with everything from calling my boss, whose number they did not have, to giving the hotel negative reviews online. When that didn't work out, they tried to sweeten the deal with coupons for their own business, which was 400 kilometers away in another city. When bribing me with useless gifts didn't work, they told me the wife was pregnant and I should have her heart and give them the apartment. I declined and told them to leave. Choosing beggar then tried to argue it was 4 AM. The night was nearly over anyway, so if I didn't give them the apartment, I should at least give them the small room for free or at least a very low price. They would barely be using it anyway, and not even the whole night. I don't know how often other people came across that argument, but I heard it often enough during the night shift. I had enough. I told them to leave or I would call the cops. I cancelled the room and kicked them out. They cursed me and told me they would take their business to another more reasonable hotel. I had enough at that point. I was stressed, tired, and feeling petty. I knew most of the other night auditors and night shift people in the hotel around ours, which were most of the 4 stars in town. I shot every one of them a mail with the names of the choosing beggars and told people they were trying to scam a free room out of me. And I can with relative certainty say those choosing beggars did not get a room in any 4-star hotel that night. Someone called Steve Links in the comments put, "And you know the name of that kid the pregnant woman had that night? Jesus Christ. The dad later sent the 3 wise men away to bring more expensive gifts. That's a good comment right there. But seriously, if they had a business, like their own business, 400 kilometers away, surely you'd think they'd be able to afford a room for one night. Especially if your wife is pregnant. You've got to get her a room. Hey everyone, I hope you're all having a really good day so far and that you enjoyed that video. If you want to see more videos like it, then click on screen right now and remember to subscribe if you haven't already. But I will see you very soon.